Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. For decades, school science demonstrations have walked this incredibly fine line between actual education and sheer theatrical entertainment. But the source document we're looking at today totally challenges that dynamic. It asks us to really rethink things, shifting our focus away from risky magic tricks and moving toward safe, unforgettable, and deeply educational science. So it forces us to ask a pretty fundamental question. Are we teaching science, or are we just performing magic tricks? We really have to wonder if our absolute fascination with explosive spectacles is kind of overshadowing the actual educational value. I mean, sure, a giant plume of foam is super fun, but if the audience has no idea about the chemistry happening behind it, that educational opportunity is entirely lost. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. Beyond the magic trick. 2. Science behind the spectacle. 3. The danger zone. 4. Safe substitutes and solutions. And 5. The tiered exhibition plan. Let's jump into Section 1, Beyond the Magic Trick. Think about glowing liquids, sudden color changes, and vanishing glass. These demonstrations effortlessly build curiosity because they present a visual wonder that practically begs for an explanation. Take the invisible glass trick, where a Pyrex rod literally vanishes when you dip it in vegetable oil, simply because the refractive indices are perfectly matched. Or the blue bottle experiment. You shake a flask, a clear liquid suddenly turns bright blue, and then it just fades away again when it sits still. These aren't magic at all. They are perfectly tuned chemical and physical phenomena that absolutely demand a hypothesis from the viewer. Moving on to Section 2, Science Behind the Spectacle. The source material points out something absolutely crucial. These demonstrations are not just one-off tricks. They cluster directly around foundational topics. When you show elephant toothpaste, you're actually teaching redox and catalysis. When you use red cabbage juice to turn everyday household liquids into a literal rainbow of colors, you're teaching acid-base equilibria. And that vanishing glass? That's pure optics and Snell's law. By mapping this spectacle right back to the curriculum, the wow factor becomes a massively powerful teaching tool. Let's look a bit closer at the famous elephant toothpaste. By breaking down the reaction step by step, we vividly demonstrate catalysis. Step 1. Hydrogen peroxide naturally decomposes into water and oxygen, but it does it very slowly. Step 2. We introduce an iodide catalyst. This dramatically lowers the activation energy of the reaction. We're talking dropping it from about 75 kilojoules per mole down to just 8. Step 3. The rapid release of oxygen gas gets trapped by dish soap, and that creates a massive exothermic foam eruption. We aren't just making a mess here, we are actively modeling reaction kinetics. All right, Section 3, the danger zone. Now, we have to talk about some stark warnings from the source material regarding the genuine and sometimes fatal risks associated with legacy fire and explosion demonstrations. For decades, highly sensitive explosives and severe carcinogens have somehow made their way into classrooms. The document makes it incredibly clear. The risks of these specific demos far, far outweigh their educational payoff. Let's break some of these hazards down. The classic ammonium dichromate volcano, that releases hexavalent chromium dust, which is a known group 1 carcinogen. Then there's nitrogen triiodide. This stuff is so unbelievably unstable that the extremely slight touch of a feather detonates it. Pure hydrofluoric acid causes deep burns and a systemic drop in blood calcium that can literally be fatal from just modest skin contact. And thermite? That produces molten iron at 2500 degrees Celsius. When we lay out these facts, it becomes pretty obvious that we need to pivot. Which brings us to Section 4, Safe Substitutes and Solutions. The really great news here is that we can completely ditch the carcinogenic hexavalent chromium of that legacy volcano. Instead, you can teach the exact same principles of gas evolution using good old baking soda and vinegar. It models an eruption safely, perfectly illustrating an acid-carbonate reaction that is entirely safe for even the youngest students to be around. Similarly, we can totally eliminate the risk of lethal burns from pure HF. By replacing it with a commercial ammonium bifluoride cream applied through a stencil, you still get to teach the unique fluoride silica chemistry of glass etching. The students still get to see that inert glass can be chemically attacked, but it's done in a highly controlled, drastically safer manner using just basic PPE. Okay, Section 5, the tiered exhibition plan. Let's see how this all builds, starting with Tier 1, the safe, high-impact core. This tier features low-hazard but incredibly striking demos, like oobleck, dancing raisins, and the 3% peroxide version of elephant toothpaste using yeast. These are absolutely perfect for young audiences. They can be performed in unsupervised adjacent settings, and they require minimal safety gear while still delivering immense educational value. Moving right up to Tier 2, we get into moderate experiments. This is where we find things like the iodine clock, which creates a sudden, perfectly timed flash of blue-black color, and luminol chemiluminescence, which proves that reaction energy can be released as light, not just heat. The visual appeal here is immense, but these strictly require basic PPE, like goggles and gloves, and they absolutely must be under adult control. Now, Tier 3 ramps things up significantly. This tier is reserved strictly for qualified chemists operating behind physical safety screens. It covers complex and potentially hazardous reactions like the Briggs-Rosher oscillating clock, platinum catalytic combustion, and liquid nitrogen cryogenics. The visual payoff is massive, like shattering a flash-frozen rose, but the safety protocols like proper ventilation to prevent silent asphyxiation from nitrogen gas are absolute musts. Tier 4 outlines the extreme controls necessary for true demonstration-only reactions. The primary example here is thermite. Because it involves an intense exothermic reaction producing molten iron at around 2,500 degrees Celsius, it requires heavy, heavy controls. It must be performed outdoors or in a space without smoke sensors, behind blast screens, with the audience kept at a strict distance of at least 4 meters. It's spectacular, for sure, but strictly expert only. Finally, we hit the omit category. The source material strongly advises that experiments like nitrogen triiodide, pure HF etching, and the ammonium dichromate volcano are simply way too hazardous for any standard school setting. The educational payoff just does not justify the risks of using primary explosives or Group 1 carcinogens. These should exclusively be shown via video, no exceptions. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to challenge your next curriculum design. If we can teach the exact same unifying chemical principles safely, why risk the danger? By utilizing a tiered safety plan and smart substitutions, we realize something incredibly important. Great chemistry does not need to be hazardous to spark a lifetime of curiosity. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.